These are some monthly insights that have come to me that I've been prompted to share with you. So I'd like to spend a few minutes in just giving you a bit of an update for this month of what's coming ahead. I'm Laurie Wheeler of Wellness Within, and I have been channeling since I was 5 years old. And I work with many different interdimensionals. This just comes through one specific consciousness that gives me updates from time to time of what's happening. So I want to share this with you for the month of November. And the news for the upcoming is revealing what will be occurring at least for the next 6 months. And it's a hectic time for all that are existing at this moment, like a roller coaster. Keeping yourselves grounded is what they suggest as the best advice at this point. So, whatever it is that you do to ground yourself. So, if nature is usually a very good way to ground. It's getting colder in many parts of the region, of the country, or out of the country, even. So it may be out of the question for you to take your shoes off and walk on the grass. But that doesn't mean you can't ground yourself. You can lean up against a tree, you can go walk in nature, because when you're in nature, they just continually tell me the vibration is so strong when you're amongst nature and you're feeling Mother Gaia, and she herself is going through some real tumultuous time. It's like this birthing process that continues. Only, we know 9 months, for a person to give birth, but this is a much longer period of time. And it's a time not only that's unprecedented, but we've never gone through this like this. So, and another aspect that they remind me of is, and to tell you folks as well, is that as Earth is going through this, and as people, as humanity are going through it, we must remember that this is rippling out into all of consciousness, but it is rippling out to those even that are helping us with their wisdom, and that it's rippling to them as well. This has majorly huge impact for all. So this is something that they continue to remind me of. And so they want to share that all is coming along well. And I guess we're doing a good job as we're going along, and that more are becoming aware, although there will be upheavals in the flow for most. And, if you're like myself, we're all feeling this for sure. Like I said, it can feel like a roller coaster. It's time that many observe and clear those challenges that are apparent right now. So, this is nothing new as well, that we're really working to shift what seems to block us, our patterns, even just becoming aware of those patterns, going from this level, coming down, 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 down to the very core of what you came to really uncover for yourself and learn for yourself about yourself, the polarities that exist within that concept, and that the blocks, or what are known as the patterns, which seem to be in the forefront for each person, these must be looked at. We are being called, as the carbon body is changing, and the carbon body of Mother Gaia is shifting also, more light coming in. We have to be able to hold that light. Well, how do we hold it? We hold it in our crystalline body. This is where we're holding it. And so this is the light that exists in our cells, in the cells of our body, and also within our energetic field as well. And as we look at this, we become more visible or it becomes more visible for many, so that the elevation of the frequency may become greater for many. And there are several levels of Earth at this time that are simultaneous, and it will depend on what level of Earth you will be existing at And this just has to do with, like, you're not going to jump from one earth to another, but it's just the energy that you're existing in, who's existing with you in it, and what is happening in that matches your frequency and what you're experiencing. And as these are parallel timelines that are occurring simultaneously, but for most, will be shifting and following your contracts. So there will be some that have decided it's just too difficult, as has been noted or seen over the last years, especially, and will leave. They'll decide to leave. It's not a negative thing. It's just their decision, and they will either that or decide not to engage their contract, and that's okay too. It's all right. If there's no right or wrong in this is the beauty of this. Anything that's right or wrong actually has to do with humanity's way of thinking and judgment. So for those that make good on their contract, they will have challenges as they're coming into their contract, more of their contract. So, but I'm told, do not fret, as all is as it is supposed to be. That is their energy words. And the climate, meaning the pulse, the energy that is happening, is what is supposed to be. And it is what you do with the challenges that enhances or teaches you who you are. This happens to be one of the most profound things they keep talking about, is that it's not the happening. The happening is just the catalyst that comes to you. It's what you're doing with it. It's like if you're a person who is driving and you naturally get upset with the other drivers, then it is your responsibility as your soul to learn to deal in a different manner, to understand yourself more fully by knowing what drives your anger, what's at the bottom, what's in the core. It's all about going into the core. What's behind the upsetment? What are those patterns, those buttons that, people press and situations press? This is what's purposeful at this time. And this is how you become more aware of yourself and then exercise your choice of how you desire to experience your life. What are you going to do with it? And sometimes at that very moment, you may not realize in that very split second, but then you may have a realization, and maybe you get more and more frequency of this. Maybe you're catching on a little bit better, a little bit easier. This is the shift that's happening for you. Pat yourself on the back. You're doing well. And as you do this, then you make conscious choice to react in a different way. This is you learning to be you. And so open contact. Now I want to talk about this for just a minute. And they want to share that they did mention, oh gosh, it had to be about 9 months ago or so. I think I mentioned it on a program, that there would be a contact. So I know many people have been talking for a while about open contact happening in the next couple of years, maybe in 2027. And that will have a lot to do with how we're handling things as to when that will exactly be. But I was told, like I said, about 9 months ago or so, that there would not be an actual being in our presence, but that contact would be made to us. And I believe this is the 3-eye atlas that is making itself apparent to us, and what is happening with all that. And this moment, I don't want to talk more about that. I have put information out about that. There's a lot of information that is coming. It is connecting. It is continuing to connect. And if you haven't had this realization over this last few weeks or month or so, and what is upcoming in the next month or two. Remember, in the beginning, I said this is for about the next 6 months as well. We're feeling this vibe, this information, these codes that are coming from this this contact that is happening. I don't even want to call it a ship. Maybe it's a ship. It's what we perceive as a ship. It's our perception. But it's coming to us to bring information, to enlighten us, and like it's this big gigantic push. So if you've been getting smaller pushes, this is going to be a big push. So they tell me the tides will be turning over the next 2 years. And this has been happening, but it is turning. And the tides are the way life is done, or how you live your life. There are many changes happening right now, and many more actually to come. And as a society, as we're changing what is of value to us, how we perceive that value, and then what we do with the shifting of the values. Again, and I'm sure I've mentioned this in previous years. If you look at carbon, okay, what is carbon? Well, oil is a carbon. Diamonds are a carbon. And there's many, many, many other things that are created from carbon. So if you stop and think about these two things, oil and diamond, what do? We place a value on that. So carbon has a lot to do with value. And so as we're shifting from our present value into a new type of value, we're taking it from what we thought was valuable and now bringing it and shifting it more into what this is. And in the interim of that, all of the our way we perceive through our emotions that is changing as well. So this has a lot to do with actually value. And I'm going to just go back in time and say a breaking down of this happened when the Twin Towers fell. This was a significant signal that our value system was under change. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that right now because I want to go on about this. But so there's a lot that could really be said, but I'm just going to put it out there for you to ponder a little bit about how you value things, how you see the value of things, and how that might be shifting in your life. And take note of that. It's a very important aspect as you're shifting from a carbon to a crystalline being. So it does take time on Earth to make these changes. And remember that all are not playing the way you play your life. One example you can use is how we drive on the highway. Some people speed very quickly. Other people are in the slow lane going slow. Some people weave in and out. We all do life in our own way, right? And this is what I'm trying to say. And each sees it their own way and must make their own decisions based in these concepts. This is what becomes very complicated on Earth because there's so many different ways to live, right? But this is also what makes life on Earth like where they're clamoring to get in to experience this, because in a lot of places, like I'm sure you know, they don't have this opportunity in other places other than Earth to have these experiences. So this is quite a unique place. And you use the opportunity on Earth to practice, to learn these lessons. It's like being in class, right? These lessons are the ways many become versed with change. So, okay. So, and then I asked, well, is there anything else that you'd like to share? And they say the best way to stay calm through the challenges and changes happening in our world is to center ourselves, to clear the patterns that may be carried over from another time or that are running in your field that are causing much distress and that you don't want to be that person any longer. This takes meeting the energy pattern with energy. And this is the future of what you know as medicine. And medicine and healing are just simply ways to clear the distortions that you've repeated and you play out in your life. So focus on what you want. If you are given a choice in your mind of what to focus on, take your mind from thinking about what is playing out in your head and think about something that makes you happy or something that says the opposite of what is playing in your head. So here's an example. If you're thinking you can't do something, or you think you're not good at something, or you're angry with someone, then think about a time when you might have tackled a problem and you solved it. And in this way, the mind kind of sends a different signal. It overlaps the way you want to think. And so you're working at retaining and moving the energy to move different. You're just causing the flow of this energy to be different than what is your normal pattern of doing and thinking and being. So take a breath and then say the other thought, the other aspect of what you want to focus, the happy, the better situation. It's a training, the energy to go where you want and what you want versus what you don't want. So because your mind believes everything and has to discern what is really truth. So there are many shifts for those that are also attuned to these frequencies. They're talking about allowing the shift will come with subtle clarity of who you are and what you will be flowing or how you're vibing in your future. But it's definitely coming with more clarity for what lies ahead. And November 11, which is 11/11, is a special time of year that the doors open and the energies are very high. These are gateways, and they become very potent to your intention and what you're looking to be, and to shift your patterns, the patterns of the old ways, and to go from that animal brain that's in the back part of the head. This is your animal brain back here. It's occipital. This is where your survival issues come from, and your higher consciousness is in this part. And so, it can kind of be a little bit of a push me, pull you kind of thing, going from this to this to this to this. But we want to clear the animal brain way, okay? The survival way. We want to break it down in the light and the crystalline self forming in so that it makes up your DNA, so that it becomes that which is transmitting and receiving. And so, and then they talked about these certain days becoming very powerful as the geometry is the opening and the catalyst to bring this about because it creates you to become more congenial, more to come on that in time. I'll be talking about that. They also want to talk a little bit about war, actually, not so much war, but the continuation of what is happening in our world. And it may even escalate more as they're working, as these particular areas and this timeline is playing itself out, and people are getting an opportunity to, at least the opportunity is there to shift the way of thinking. And yet there's still a lot of old thinking there. And, this is like all over the globe. There are different places that have different energy transmission. You can feel it. I work taking people on spirit adventure tours, and we've been to many places, and it's very palpable. It's very potent when you walk into a place, into an area that is really has not shifted or changed. I'll say in thousands of years, right? It's still playing out. So you can feel it when you come into this kind of experience. And so the vibes there are ancient, and they hold many people still holding fast to this consciousness, they tell me. And the political arena is caught in this as well. Okay, just a note or two about financial. The financial may soar for a bit and then it's going to drop. Well, I don't know how uncommon that is at this moment. So they're saying hold on any large monetary changes you may be thinking about. It will be in a flux as it's connected to political and how people are feeling financially, whether they're feeling they can spend or not spend. And this is what's driving the energy to this. And it's what drives the markets. Okay, as you know, we all know. So, all right. So that's the month of November's insight. And I'll look to see you at the end of November for December's insights. I'll see you then.